All these names are weird. These bots.
Probably. I told them that this was Garbo's last game. They're like, we'll put the bots on. No, I'm just playing.
Oh no.
What is going on, everyone? Griffin here, coming at you with some Ronin gameplay, and today we're going to be talking about the buff that the Sahara received in the Winter Warfare update for Rogue Company. So let's head over and let's talk about it. So for those of you that are unaware, I just want to continuously remind everybody that in order to access the patch notes now, you have to go to the Rogue Company Steam page to access the patch notes. They did away with putting the patch notes on their website for whatever reason. So you come over here to the Rogue Company Steam page. You can just search for Rogue Company Steam page. Click that top link right there, and then whenever you get here, you scroll down to recent events and announcements, and here is the Winter Warfare update. So down here, you will see the change that happened with the Sahara: increased hipfire accuracy. And this is the blurb about it. Missing a hipfire shot tended to be quite punishing given the overall accuracy, speed, and stopping power of this weapon. This change is to reduce the likelihood of missing an initial hipfire shot and being severely punished. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I never felt like the Sahara was overly punishing whenever you missed hipfire shots. I mean, if we're going to be realistic about it for a second, ever since they went in there and they tweaked the assault rifles completely, so they increase the accuracy whenever you're ADSing, but they decrease the accuracy whenever you're hip firing it, it feels like that every assault rifle has this whole punishing aspect when it comes to hip fire. They reverted all of the SMG changes back whenever Jared, had his untimely exit from the Rogue Company development team, but they didn't do anything with the assault rifles. So here we are. We are going back in with assault rifle changes, and I'm assuming that these are going to be put in place to revert the changes that were initially made with the ADS and also the hipfire accuracy. At least that's my speculation overall. With the Sahara, it was one of the better weapons with one of the better hipfires. So is this a good thing or a bad thing? Well, on paper, it's a great thing, right? Because you're going to be more accurate whenever you're hip firing. You're going to take one of the most accurate hipfire assault rifles and give it better hip fire because it's too punishing according to the statistics that the developers are using to balance the game. Not the reality of how the weapon actually performs, not the actual play test using of the weapon. The statistics that they're using to balance the game tells them that the hipfire accuracy for it is bad. I don't fully agree with that. I don't really feel like that this buff was all that warranted, and I'm not 100% opposed to a buff like this. But why do we need this? Like, if we're going to look at the punishing hipfire for assault rifles, let's look at the Hydra for a second. Let's look at the HRM for a second. Let's look at the M4 for a second. Like, there are more important assault rifles that have worse hipfire that need to be addressed over the Sahara, in my opinion. The Sahara already hits hard, it already feels good, and with this increased hipfire accuracy, it is one of the best, if not the best, assault rifle in Rogue Company at the moment. This may be the meta assault rifle, to be completely honest, because this thing is just a powerhouse up close. It's a powerhouse at range. There's no real limitations or real hard fall offs that hit you whenever you're running the weapon. So it's just a very versatile weapon all the way around. And that's the problem with a lot of the weapons in Rogue Company. They all feel very versatile. They all feel very samey. The only thing that feels a little bit different is fire rate, damage based off of the fire rate, and some of the ranges of the weapons, but everything else feels pretty much the same. And I know that people could argue, well, that's what weapons are. They have different they have different fire rates, they have different accuracies, they have different blah blah blah. It's like, yeah, but if the Sahara is just the Riptide, except it fires a tad bit slower but hits a tad bit harder, and it has the same damage output overall. If you hit 5 bullets with the KA, and that equals hitting 3 bullets with the Sahara, but you're going to be hitting those bullets at the same time, then they're the same weapon. There's no identity there. There's no way to differentiate the KA-30 from the Sahara, essentially. It's just a difference in fire rate. It's a difference in damage output. So it feels very samey. For the Sahara, I don't think that this was warranted. Was it needed? I'm sure some people out there thought that it was needed, but for me personally, overall, I don't think it was needed at all. I think it was an absolutely unnecessary buff that they gave the weapon, and I don't fully understand why it happened. This is the problem that happens whenever you balance a game specifically around data and statistics as opposed to actual execution and use in game. Because you can look at the data all you want and say, oh, the hipfire on this weapon isn't performing where we think that it should be. But okay, what are they playing against? Are they playing against submachine guns? Are they playing against assault rifles? Are they playing against the tier? Like, there's a lot of different things to factor into this equation other than here's the hipfire statistics for the Sahara. It's trending low. We need to buff that. No, we have to look at the overall picture. Should the Sahara have better hipfire than an SMG? Absolutely not, in my opinion. Should the Sahara have a better hipfire than a shotgun? Absolutely not, in my opinion. Should the Sahara have a better hipfire than DMRs? Absolutely. 100%. Should the Sahara have a better hipfire than sniper rifles? 1000% yes. So this is the problem with looking and balancing the game based solely off of statistics in the game, because this was an unwarranted change. This was an unneeded change. This is making the weapon more overpowered. I felt like the Sahara was in a fantastically balanced spot before this. Now, with the little increase in the hipfire accuracy, it does put it over the top because it is way more reliable. It is way more versatile. It is way more Swiss Army weapon, just like a lot of the other weapons in the game. It fundamentally loses some of its identity by having this type of a buff. So hopefully we'll get through this whole motion of balancing things based off of statistics alone. And then once we actually get over that hump that we've been through, I don't know how many times at this point, then maybe we can get some real impactful changes to these weapons. It seems like every time that a new lead developer or a lead designer comes in and starts making changes to Rogue Company, it always goes through the same motions. You have them looking at the data, balancing stuff strictly based off of the data. Then when that doesn't work and the community gets upset, then they start making the changes and reverting those changes and start looking at actual feedback from players, a lot of the times the wrong feedback in my opinion, and making changes based off of that. That doesn't pan out. So then it comes down to them actually having to play their game and actually see how this weapon feels, and how this hipfire on this weapon feels, and how the ADS on this weapon feels, and how it feels on keyboard and mouse, and how it feels on controller, and how it feels on this. Like, that is what you have to do to balance your game. Looking at the data doesn't net you any clear results on anything. What are they going up against? What's the skill disparity? Like, what's the skill gap between these two players that we're looking at here? Well, like, there's way more things that factor into this data than just, oh, the hipfire's trending low, we're going to buff the hipfire. It's ridiculous. I can't wait to get over this hump so that we can get back to actual game balance. But until then, we have to settle for these very terrible balance changes, in my opinion. But be sure to let me know what you think in the comments down below. What are your thoughts on the Sahara? Do you feel like the Sahara needed a hipfire accuracy increase? Did you think that it was in a balanced spot before? And what's your overall feeling on assault rifles, and just your overall feeling on how the game is being balanced currently? Be sure to let me know what you think in the comments down below. Also, be sure to check that description for links to Facebook, Discord, and Twitter. Those are the places to contact me. If you haven't already, please be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. If you've already subscribed to the channel, then consider hitting that join button to become one of the 256 crew members. Lastly, on Thursdays and also on Sundays, I will be streaming here on YouTube. So if you are interested and available, please feel free to stop by and say hello there. Thanks for watching, guys.
That bitch leather.
Oh, fuck. I couldn't hit him, but he could hit me.
Oh. I get you.
Okay.
Another contract in the bag.
I mean, I don't know what else to do.
Yeah, right.
That was better, Garbo. Look.
Yeah, you got 10 downs,
Yeah.
Garbo. W.
I get 20 on the next one.
Yeah, maybe 30. I got 1 minute left of my double XP. Come on, Garbo.
I've already left too.